Alright, it's 10 a.m. Saturday the 27th. I just left Capelin Volcano and I am now heading home. Not because I want to, but because I have to. I gotta be at work on Monday. I am a long ways from home. It's time I explain why I've been referring to this series of videos as my last road trip. I'd also like to take a minute to explain to you what my deal is. Why do I do all this traveling? Why do I make YouTube videos? And what I'm planning next. Have you ever heard of the wanderlust gene? It's a real thing, scientifically proven. What? It's true. Look it up. It's a genetic mutation of the D4 dopamine receptor in our brains, and it's called DRD4-7R. Now, I don't know my head from my ass when it comes to genealogy, but this was intriguing to me, so I researched it. 80% of the human population has the 4R variant, or 4 repeat, also called alleles. Mutations of up to 11 have been discovered. As the number goes up, a greater amount of dopamine is required to feel good. The 7R variant is the most common mutation and is associated with wanderlust and novelty seeking, more risk-tolerant attitudes, and a heightened sensitivity to the environment. Behavioral traits linked to the 7R variant include social introversion, elevated daytime sleepiness, substance abuse, sexual experimentation, gambling addiction, ADHD, and more. Studies have shown the 7R variant to be most common in North and South America in people of European descent and estimate the mutation to have begun during the westward expansion, likely a New World evolution from generations of explorers. There are tons of articles about this, and it has been studied extensively. My point here is that the wanderlust gene is real, and I got it. As long as I can remember, I've always had a free spirit and itchy feet. When I was a little kid, real little, I would sneak out and go explore fields and creeks, climb trees, crawl around in storm drains, lots of trespassing. My mom was protective of me and my brother, so I learned to be sneaky. I loved to be outside, and I was fascinated with nature. I would rip apart plants and trees, see how they feel, smell, taste. I've never been afraid to get dirty. It's just dirt. Dirt don't hurt. One of my oldest memories as a baby, I stole a spoon from the kitchen and went and dug in the yard, someone else's yard I recall. I dug up a worm and ate it. When I was a teenager, before I had a car, I walked everywhere. I could never find contentment at home. I had to get out. Over the summer, I would roam all night. I was 100% nocturnal. I would wake up at 5 p.m. and be out until 9 a.m. I enjoyed the peace, the stillness of the night, the cooler weather. At the end of it, I was rewarded with the beautiful sunrise. I've tortured myself over the years with my stubbornness and persistence. Hanging out with friends at the end of the night when the party was over and everyone crashed on the couch or floor, I would walk several miles home because I didn't like where I was, even in the middle of winter, wearing only jeans and a hoodie. My thighs and face would be purple with frostbite. That persistence continues in recent years as I go to extreme lengths, driving well over 1,000 miles in one weekend just to get somewhere I wanted to be. That is mostly due to a geographical disadvantage. I currently live in the wrong location, to say the least. I've always taken life by the reins and struggled with authority. When I was 17, I dropped out of high school a month into my senior year. I immediately began working full-time and have been ever since. Not to be pegged as a loser, I went down to my local community college and got my GED. I graduated 5 months before my high school class did. Shortly after that, when I was 18, I saved up all of my money for a few months and traveled to Europe with a friend. I saw France, Germany, and Amsterdam. In my early 20s, I was hungry. I worked full-time 8 to 5 every day. Then in the evenings, I worked on cars with my mechanic friends. I would be swapping motors and doing head gaskets well after midnight. I wore myself out fast doing that. I've rented 2 houses and 3 apartments since I was 18. It used to be my dream to buy an acreage out in the country and build a big shop on it with a concrete floor, a lift, heat, room for all kinds of projects. That never happened, and I'm glad it didn't. I've tried a few times to buy a house, but the economy and the housing market just kept getting worse. Fast forward to now. I'm almost 36, no kids, no wife, no house. I've been engaged twice, but never married. Back in 2020, I just got out of a long-term relationship, and for the first time in a long time, I was alone. I had a full-time job in an apartment, but no other obligation besides caring for my mom. My life was mine to do what I wanted with. I started road tripping. In June of 2021, I took my beat-up old Buick that I just acquired on a short 3-day road trip and made my first YouTube video called Get Out of Dodge. It took me a month to edit that video. I learned on several different software until I found one that I liked, and I had an absolute blast throughout the whole process. Not only did I have a fun adventure all by myself with no expectations, I got to relive the whole experience in editing. Making videos is a great creative outlet for me. The excitement and happiness that I found as I drove to new places and explored what little bit of the world that I had time to, it quickly became an obsession. An obsession that consumed my heart and completely derailed me. I suddenly was very unhappy with my life. I hated my job. I hated the feeling of being trapped by my apartment and the burden of my belongings. I hated being stuck in one place. 2 weeks of vacation time a year is far from enough to scratch my itch. Here in Colorado Springs, weather's a little different. With no real plan to change my life yet, I just kept grinding away at the rat race as usual. A month later, in July of 21, a tidal wave of anxiety washed over me. To this day, I still don't understand what triggered it, but it could have very well been my heart and soul screaming for freedom. It started with insomnia. I couldn't sleep. Then the panic attacks. I had them every day for over a year, every morning before work especially. 3 of them in particular were extremely severe. The first big one, I called 911. They came to my apartment, told me I wasn't having a heart attack, and then just left without saying another word. I felt like such an idiot. The second one, after not sleeping for 5 nights in a row, I drove myself to the ER. My heart rate was over 200. They shot me up with lorazepam, told me to lay off the coffee, and sent me on my way. That 30-minute visit cost me $4,500. Again, I felt like an idiot, and my self-esteem was declining. What the hell is wrong with me? The third severe one lasted over 12 hours. I laid in my bed and had what probably was considered a legit seizure. A friend offered me general advice on how to be mindful and get a panic attack under control, but I was so new to the experience I had no chance. After a few months, I just stopped caring about life. My solution to keep the anxiety at bay was just that, a solution. I became reckless and got deep into substance abuse. I won't specify, but it left me barely functional and led me into the darkest depression of my life. I almost didn't survive. A year later, August of 22, I was sitting in my apartment, completely miserable, and I said enough is enough. I was either going to end my life or fix it. I wrote myself a letter. It was a plan. Sober up, move out of that apartment, run away, and become a nomad. I no longer cared about comfort, security, belongings. I just needed to be free. And I began working towards that. I had a pretty nice place that I worked hard for and was proud of. I got rid of it all. My bed, dresser, couch, TVs, pots and pans, etc. All of it I gave to my girlfriend at the time and my mom, or I sold it on Marketplace or simply threw it away. I got sober in January of 23 and moved out of my apartment a month later. I had a major unfortunate setback, which I also won't specify, but I'm back on track and closer now than ever. I'm at a rest area in the middle of eastern Colorado, and it is a miserable, dreary, shitty day. It's 40 degrees, raining, windy, cold. It sucks to drive in. I'm probably going to just drive all the way home tonight. I've got like 7 more hours to get there. It's gonna be about midnight. Just gonna do it. I'm eating a salad from a truck stop. But it seems fresh. It's actually pretty legit. Driving through Colorado Springs and Denver was sketch. It was snowing really hard. People were driving like crazy. I couldn't see like anything. My current living situation as well as my job are temporary. On New Year's Eve, 24, I went down to U-Haul and purchased a box van. I'm doing van life. I'm gonna spend the rest of my life exploring this world alone, outside, and free. A lifestyle where I can be myself and find peace and happiness. And here it is. This is my new van. This is going to be my home for the next 10 years, maybe more. Who knows? I'm in North Platte, Nebraska. It's 7:30. I've been driving for 8 hours, and I've got another 5 hours to go. Alright, I just got home. It's midnight. I put exactly 2,100 miles on this Toyota in a week. I'm gonna take a shower and go to bed. When I started making YouTube videos, I called my channel Coven, which is my last name. And it's a pretty unique name. I'm only 3rd generation. But I found out that there's this dude in Poland who makes music, and his name is Coven. And he's got like 100,000 subs. So I came up with roaming, like your phone does when you're in the middle of nowhere. And I was going to have like the logo be the R with the 5 empty bars, and had it all figured out. And I rolled with that for a while, but there's so many channels that are like roaming something or roaming with somebody. And like when I would search for roaming on YouTube, you wouldn't even see my channel, not even on the second page of results. It was just YouTube was not acknowledging roaming to be a thing. So I've been thinking for a long time about renaming my channel. When I decided in August of 22 that I was going to be doing this, I started looking at all my options for how to travel, and I was going to get a Silverado and then pull a trailer with it. And I thought about calling my channel Trailer Trash, which would be kind of funny. I was raised in a trailer park, so, you know. But the truck alone would have cost me like 20 grand, and all the travel trailers out there, they're just built like crap, and I would have had to pretty much redo everything. Then I got into like cargo trailer builds, and I started thinking about that. And ultimately I decided that I just don't want to have to tow something and get terrible gas mileage and, have to worry about coming back to camp and finding my trailer had been looted or something, and that it just kind of limits you on where you can go. So I have 2 cats and a cockatiel right now. I had 3 cats before I moved out of my apartment, and I had to give one of them to a friend of mine because right now I'm just staying with my mom. I'm pretty much homeless, technically. And I want to travel with my cat, at least one of them, my oldest cat, because he just can't live without me and I can't live without him. My other cat, she's like scared of her own shadow, and I think taking her on the road would just be terrifying for her. And as much as I would miss her and she would wonder what the hell happened to me, I think it would be ultimately best for her if she were to stay with my mom. She loves grandma anyway. My oldest cat, Mr. Kitty Poops, he's 16 right now, and I've had him since he was like 1. And he loves riding in the car. He gets excited. He gets up on the dash and looks around, and, he likes to go outside. I take him out in the yard and take him to parks and stuff. And when he was young, he used to just rip the window screens and get out in the middle of the night anyway. But I've decided to call my channel Vanlife Meow, which I think, I'll be discoverable. So I know what you're thinking. How are you going to make money and pay for it and make a living and afford all this? Well, the plan is get the van built, get it done, and then I'm getting a second job. I have nothing better to do than to work and pay off all my debt. Once the van's paid for and all my debt is paid off, I'm going to just save money as long as I want to. I'd like to hit the road with like maybe 20 grand in the bank. Ideally by the end of next year. And I think I can live comfortably off maybe $1,200 to $1,500 a month between, gas, my bills. I plan on getting Starlink internet. That's like $150 a month. And food for me and my cat. And then when I'm starting to run out of money, hopefully not for a year or 2, I'm going to get seasonal jobs, ones that I enjoy. I'm going to try to be like a campground host or get a job at a national park doing whatever. I ain't afraid to get my hands dirty. I was an apartment maintenance guy for 15 years. I'll happily pick up trash or clean toilets. I don't care. I really just need to support my lifestyle. I plan on being single the rest of my life, and I have an IRA that I'll continue to invest in. One day I will be too old to do this, and by then I'll probably have something else figured out. I'll settle down somewhere. But yeah, I got it, financially I've got this covered. So I only have one more subject to discuss if you've made it this far in the video, and that is van life on YouTube. Since 2020, van life has kind of exploded in the US. Everybody's doing it. It's trending, and for many good reasons. I mean, society sucks, let's face it. The economy's trash. But there's a lot of, and I'm not trying to make enemies here, but there's a ton of van life channels on YouTube and a handful of good ones. I have a ton of respect for like the OG van lifers who've been doing this for years. And, you know, there's a lot of channels where people are just, it's all drama. People are just shaking their iPhones around and bitching about dirty campgrounds or their neighbors or their dog got in a fight with somebody's dog or, you know, the price of gas. I don't know. None of that is interesting to me or fun to watch. And then on the other hand, there's a lot of channels that just really overdo it. And, you know, I have respect for them too. You can pretty much choose your level of production on your YouTube videos. But to me, there's just a lot of fluff, and it comes off as just kind of pretentious and people trying to glamorize this lifestyle. I mean, when you're pooping in a bucket. So there's that. My videos are going to be travel and exploration. I plan on releasing a video once a week, and it's going to be where I am, here I am, let's explore, or here I'm going here next. I want to learn about every area that I visit, the history of it, the geography, the geology, nature, all that stuff. I'm a nerd. I like museums and parks and I don't know. My day-to-day like van life stuff, I will make videos about that. So yeah, this is what I'm doing, and if you're interested or you want to follow me along and, you know, keep up with my life, subscribe to my channel, and I'll try to release a video every week and hope you enjoy it.